Hey everybody, welcome back to your favorite Gundam podcast, Colony Drop. I am Yzak, and I'm here with my co-host, whose name is...
It is Brian. And this is a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. From the anime, to the movies, to the music, to the models, to the manga, to the live-action film. We do it all, Yzak.
That's right. We talk about everything, including dun-dun-dun-dun, news and concepts/ideas.
Yeah, Yzak, Sunrise is just firing out news on new Gundam stuff the last few weeks. I feel like we don't get news for years, and then all of a sudden we get, in the last 3-4 weeks, we've gotten huge bombshells every week. I mean, what's going on over there?
I mean, while the rest of the world has been hunkered down, trying not to get sick during the global pandemic, at Sunrise, they've been cooking up ideas at home, working on concepts, filling up that pipeline, Brian, to just unleash it into our Gundam fan throats.
So the big news this week, there was a new project announced for Gundam SEED called Gundam SEED Project Ignited. You may remember that Ignited was SEED Destiny's first opening song, which was sung by TM Revolution, one of your favorites, Yzak.
Of course.
And so you see what they did there? They named the project after a popular song.
So wise.
And this project basically celebrates the 20th anniversary of Gundam SEED, which is, I think the exact date would be October 5th of 2022. And they're basically going to celebrate this anniversary with a bunch of new Gundam SEED stuff. What's the biggest news out of here, Yzak?
The biggest news out of here is that we're going to get some new Gundam SEED anime series or movie. Some type of content like that, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's a film, I believe. I believe they said it was a film. Yeah.
A film. Do they mean, by film, do they mean, are they going to break it into 4 parts and release it via streaming? Or do they mean, no, this will be a full feature film?
I read it as a full feature film.
Okay.
It'll be a full sequel to the TV series, directed by the original director, Mitsuo Fukuda. Some SEED fans may remember that a film was talked about / announced, discussed, way back when, I think maybe the year or two after SEED Destiny ended. I think this was originally announced or discussed way back in 2006. So it's been a long time coming because that movie just, obviously it never happened or never came out. And here we are in 2021 and we're talking about it again. So that's big news.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, depending on if you're a fan, Gundam SEED kind of did its run, and then that was it. We've never heard from it again. It might as well have been After War Gundam X or, any other Gundam series that didn't really continue on. It's actually coming back, Brian. I mean, I guess they really want to continue the conflict or see how it actually all resolves itself. At the end of Gundam SEED Destiny, I don't remember there being a lot left to resolve.
I'll be honest, I don't really even remember how SEED Destiny left off, but I am of the same frame of mind. I don't remember it ending and thinking, what about this or what about that? I feel like we were in a good spot.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gundam SEED was arguably maybe Sunrise's best, or definitely most successful, alternate universe. All the characters still do really well in popularity polls. People just love their Kira, Yzak. They just love their Kira. They love their freedom. They love their beam spamming. So
they love seeing that walnut shatter on the screen, and they know it's about to go down.
There is a big contingent of Gundam fandom where Gundam SEED is their Gundam. That's the one they grew up with. If you go and look up opening songs from Gundam SEED on YouTube, there's just thousands of comments of people this was my first anime, I grew up watching this, and blah, blah, blah. So if you're one of those people who grew up on Gundam SEED, and this is your Gundam, this is a dream come true for you, I think, because, they're bringing it back. It's got the original director. He's probably going to do an idea similar, I would imagine, to what he originally wanted to do when he first thought about this movie way back when. Obviously, I'm sure it's not going to be exactly the same. I'm sure he's had some change of thought in the last 15 years or whatever, but, I mean, that's pretty cool. I can imagine if I was a Gundam SEED fan, I'd be pretty excited right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much Gundam SEED's success owes to that it's pretty much the one-year war, just with, different organizations and a new coat of paint. So maybe it's just such a good story that fans really connected with it. But at the same time, If you're a fan of Gundam Seed, this is the greatest news ever. You're finally going to get an awesome movie that hopefully ties things up. Because if I'm remembering correctly, the coordinators had come to the realization that they're under a bit of a time limit. They're unable to reproduce after a certain number of generations, and they go sterile. So there's probably not going to be a ton of people in the plants in a few generations. Maybe this movie will address that, or maybe this movie will just brush that aside and say, nope, we'll go for round 3 in the war between Earth and the plants.
Yeah, so I had a few questions for you about the film.
Sure.
I'd say as a moderate Gundam Seed fan, I mean, you used to be a bigger fan than maybe you are now. What do you want from this film? And what would you like to see?
I definitely want to see Blue Cosmos back. Team Blue.
Yeah.
I want to see them up to their usual tricks, causing problems. I would like maybe a new character. Like maybe, I mean, we pretty much got that in Destiny, right, with Shin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like a new character, maybe from Earth this time, since Shin was from the plants, Kira was from a neutral colony. It makes sense. We go to Earth, right? Yeah. Why not? And this character would be our eyes and the ears, pretty much, our proxy as the audience. But at the same time, Kira would be there, Athrun would be in the background, Lacus.
She'd be Lacus in a way in the background.
Yeah, and the rest of our cast, even Shin, why not? So, yeah, everybody would be there sort of in the background, but the story would be clearly advancing. Maybe they'd have different roles, and we'd have a good old-fashioned conflict with some good mobile suits fighting it out.
I think I'm of the similar opinion in that if I'm going to watch this film, I think what I would like to see is to see the timeline break away a bit from the UC and be a little more original. Because if you look at Seed as more of like a 0079 analog, right? And then you look at Destiny as, for the most part, a Zeta analog, at least through the first half. The natural conclusion is, they're going to make a film, so this is going to be the Char's Counterattack version of Gundam Seed. I don't know. Is that really what we want?
How would a Seed Char's Counterattack go? Like, they're going to drop the plants?
Maybe, yeah.
They're going to drop the plants on Earth. There's like one enemy fleet of coordinators, and I don't know. I mean, Char's Counterattack, as famous as it is within Gundam fandom, it didn't stick the landing, as we discussed at length in our review of it, our episode. So I would be very worried about them saying, we're gonna do the counterattack of Seed. I'll be like, oh no, like. There really isn't a Char to do an actual Char's counterattack, right?
Well, yeah, that was my
already. Yeah,
yeah, that was my next question for you. Okay. As who is the antagonist in this show? Because spoiler alert, Rao's dead, Ray's dead. Do you just make another Al Deflaga clone and have that be your antagonist, or maybe that's your new character?
I hope not. I really hope not. Because the problem with Seed is a lot of their characters that. Well, actually, every character that survives from Seed to Seed Destiny, at least, I'm not too familiar with like Astray and all that. Every character that survived moving forward, they're all on the good guy side. You know, there's nobody that sort of maybe has a camp in the villains, and like they still lived. You know, like Char pretty much.
Right.
So I think it's a case of, all right, when they introduce the villain, they're gonna have to really build him up again, and we're gonna have or her. Ooh, interesting, her. And the villain will have to be introduced and killed in the same movie.
yeah, a little tough. The only way I was thinking of they could solve that would be to make one of the existing good characters the bad guy. I don't know how the fandom would take that, though.
Yeah, I mean, wow. In that case, like, are they going to make Athrun go full Zala? Like, he's going to be like, I've suddenly changed my mind. I'm going to go with my father's vision, and we should destroy Earth.
Yeah, I mean, your only choices would be either Athrun or Shin, I suppose.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, where did this come from, Athrun? You were like on our team for like two wars. Now you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, the obvious choice would then have to be Shin, then, I would imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of Seed, though, it looked like that part of him was just canceled. You know, he was a good guy through and through at the end of Seed.
He got hit by an angst canceller.
Oh, an angst canceller.
He was mellowed out a little bit. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'm not sure, but
I hope they don't pull it. If you remember, Brian, there's one other Gundam series that after its run, they had their own movie. Do you remember the name of that Gundam series, Brian?
I do. It's Mobile Suit. New Mobile Report Gundam Wing.
Oh, well, yes, that. I was thinking of more recently that had a poorly received villainous element. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. 00. And
oh! You know what? Sorry, I blocked that from my mind.
I don't blame you. I'm sure your neurons work together to like wall up that part of your brain.
I spent years setting up that wall, and you just broke it down.
I'm sorry about that. I mean, sadly, my neurons, they kept it fresh. They knew we might need that information one day. And here we are, because spoiler alert, listeners, in the 00 movie, aliens show up. And they cause all kinds of problems for Earth. Oh no.
Yeah, I would say, just in general, listeners, if in case you haven't noticed by now, Yzak and I are pretty welcoming to most aspects of Gundam. The one thing we really don't like, though, just unequivocally, is the Gundam 00 movie.
Yeah. We'll see. G Savior too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so I hope Sunrise has learned. I don't even know how the 00 movie was received in Japan. For all we know, it was a smash hit. But I really hope we don't see, this whole SEED movie about the plants and Earth working together against an alien threat. And this will be what finally makes them put aside their differences and become, one society.
Do you think the alien threat would be the space whales? Like a fleet of space whales?
Actually, all right.
Led by George Glenn. Yeah, he just comes back with his own. He turns out he wasn't dead. Like he didn't get assassinated. Like he's fine.
He faked his assassination.
Yeah, and he comes back with a fleet of space whales.
I would love to see that. Actually, that would be so awesome.
I would watch it.
I mean, yeah. At that point, we're approaching like a comedy ending to like the Gundam SEED series, right?
It could use a little levity here and there.
But how do the Gundams fight whales though?
I don't know. I'm sure Shin would just charge forward as usual.
Brian, are you envisioning these whales actually have like mobile suits that are in the shape of whales?
No, I was thinking
in a whale cockpit.
No, I was thinking they would be. Oh, you're thinking like whales would pilot bigger whale mobile suits?
Yeah, like.
Oh no, I was thinking just like big space whales. It would just be like a fight between whales and mobile suits.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking like the Windfish from like Zelda Wind Waker, or I don't know if anyone's played that game, but.
No, sorry, Brian. You just lost our listeners. We have no idea
they all
what
play
the
Zelda. I know
Windfish
they do.
The Windfish.
The Windfish from Link's Awakening. Come on, people.
Come on, guys. Come on.
They know. They know.
Before you get to the fire temple, everybody knows that.
How much time do you think should have passed?
Oh God. Okay, not a lot. And I say this because I don't think the fans will appreciate a lot of elderly Kira, or like Kira with a beard.
Could anyone take Kira seriously with a beard?
I wouldn't. Well, I mean, all the Kira fans, they'll take Kira seriously at any point in time. No matter how many buckles he puts on his sleeves.
But Yzak, let me ask you, what if his beard made him look even more like Jesus?
Wow. So he grew out his hair too.
Yeah.
Wow, he's gone full Jesus.
I mean, him and Lacus, they're like space hippies, right?
Are they?
I don't know. Kind of.
She's the bubblegum princess, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really rich space hippies.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, if they do an aged Kira, might as well give him the beard and the full Jesus treatment. I just hope we don't see the aged characters too much. Make a year pass, maybe a few years or whatever, and the war just picks up again, or the new threat shows up. It'll be weird if, like, I don't know, they have like kids now, and the kids are pilots, and then it's gonna be like, oh, okay, really, what's Kira gonna do? Like he's like an admiral, or he's the captain of their new white vase. The Neo Angel, or whatever they're gonna call it.
And what would you name the new model of the freedom and the justice that will inevitably show up, right? Because we went from the freedom to the strike freedom, and the justice to the infinite justice. We're gonna get a new name. So, what's it gonna be?
What comes after infinite?
So I'll tell you my choices. My choices were absolute freedom.
Wow.
And blind justice.
Blind justice?
Yeah.
Wow, that's very Batman, huh?
Yeah.
Justice is blind, but it can hear.
Do what you need to do, Kira.
Alfred, get the Bat Gundam.
I do what Kira doesn't.
Yeah, I got my black mobile suit in this space.
Shin, you're still a little...
The Joker gins are out there. I'm fine with that name. I'd almost want them to move away from Strike or something. Like
it's a whole new one then.
Maybe, because like, why are they continuing the Strike? Like, first it was an Earth Alliance thing, and then I guess Orb kept making them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess Orb secretly developed the Strike, right? But then it ended up with the Federation, but then ended up back with Orb, so it's kind of circular.
We'll call it like the Strike Seed Justice.
Well, I hope that version of the movie doesn't get made.
I'm terrible at naming the heroic mobile suits. All right, give me like Xeon names and I'll be able to pump them out. It's a Susanna. It's a Ghoulie.
What would you name the new version of the Providence or whatever what was the second? It was the Providence, and it was the Dreadnought, right? So what would the third version be?
All right, we'd call it. Let's see, what's similar to Providence and a Dreadnought?
Well, those two aren't similar at all.
No,
I think it was Dreadnought, wasn't it?
We've become the podcast that does like exam questions, like like Invincible is just strong as.
Oh no, it wasn't Dreadnought. Hold on. Oh, Dreadnought was from Astray. Oh, Legend.
Really?
So it was Providence, and then it was Legend Gundam. So what would the next one be?
Myth.
Myth, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. Okay.
The finest from Blue Cosmos. No.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Yzak, and say that the climax of this movie is going to be Shin, Kira, Athrun all fighting a new version of the Legend Gundam and the Providence Gundam, because that's how the other two series kind of ended.
They better have backpacks.
Oh, Yzak, those backpacks in this film are going to be bigger and better than ever before.
And you know what they need? They need like these backpacks to have like 4 beam sabers that are massive. And I say 4 because 2 will be held by the arms, right?
Yeah.
And then the other 2 will be by the feet.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So they'll just, at the final battle, you'll just see like the main characters, as usual, being invincible, flying around, cutting the enemy ships in half, just left and right.
Yeah, they can basically put the meteor units in their backpack.
Exactly. At this point, they're not meteor units. They become comet units, and they're pink.
Should be quite the ride.
Yeah, God. What's it going to be? Why is there going to be another war? Why is this happening?
Maybe it won't be a war. Maybe it'll be like a smaller conflict.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like the 00 movie.
Yeah.
Where nobody was really fighting each other. It was just humanity working together against the unstoppable silver aliens.
Yes. The silver aliens of doom.
Oh, God. Well, I'll be cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, I will prepare myself for it to not to be great.
I'm optimistic. I think it'll be good. I mean, it's done by the same director, so this is his show. He's had it from the start. I'm sure this is how he's always wanted it to end. I think if you enjoy Gundam Seed, then this is going to be pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, I feel like for him at least, this will be a great way to end the series, If he's had a series end in vision for this many years, it must be such a relief to finally get it done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he probably never thought this was going to happen, right?
Probably not. Good for him, though. Good for him finally wrapping it up. I'm curious if this will actually be the end of it, or is Sunrise saying, we'll test the waters with the movie. If it turns out there's a lot of Seed love out there still, get ready for another series.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. I mean, look, if this movie comes out and it does fantastically well, I guarantee they're not going to be done with it. That's just business, Yzak.
As long as Blue Cosmos is there, Brian, I will be happy.
Yzak will be ready and willing to sign up for the cause.
Pretty much, yeah. For the preservation of a blue and pure world.
There were a few other things about Gundam Seed announced at the same time as part of Project Ignited. Probably the next biggest beyond the film was a new manga series called Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Eclipse. It'll start to come out in July. It is set in the 2-year gap, Isaac, between Seed and Destiny. And this will focus on the Eclipse Gundam, which is a suit developed in secret by Orb, wherever we heard that before. And it has and it has a mobile armor / mobile flight mode. And it also comes equipped with Mirage Colloid, probably the most underused and best weapon from the show.
I like that Orb didn't learn their lesson after their homeland was overrun by the Earth Alliance and destroyed. They're like, you know what? We'll still make Secret Gundam.
It's cool. We'll still make it for you.
This will never backfire. What's the worst that could happen?
The synopsis on GundamNews.org says, in the space between two wars, this is the story of those who risked their lives for the unit named ODR, the Orb Disaster Relief Team, an international organization with a wide range of missions, including medical care, education, technological exchange, and international goodwill. So that seems ripe for that's a very side story synopsis, Isaac.
Absolutely. And it sounds like they took a lot of notes from Preventer from Endless Waltz.
As part of this project announcement, we probably got the most detail on this manga series. What do you think of the Eclipse Gundam, Isaac? I think it looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I'd say it actually looks like an improved version of the Strike, right?
To me, it looks like Tekkaman Blade. I know I brought that up before when we talked about the some of the Iron-Blooded Orphan suits, specifically the one that McGillis pilots, that red one. This one looks like Tekkaman to me, and I like Tekkaman, so that's a win. I actually don't see it as an improved version of the Strike. That's interesting. To me, it doesn't really look like many of the other suits in the Cosmic Era. It doesn't really fit into me, but I like it.
I like the shape of it. Overall, it looks streamlined. Looks more technologically advanced. So that's what I really like about it.
I did peruse some comments on YouTube and Reddit. A lot of people were thinking that the Eclipse Gundam was like the Seed version of the Xi Gundam from Hathaway's Flash. I can kind of see that. They're both very angular. Does that seem like a fair comparison to you?
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what it's actually going to do. Is it literally going to be the same thing?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
We need a gimmick for each Gundam.
Well, this one, I guess, is the transforming thing. How do you think this transformation compares to the Zeta's Wave Rider?
I hope it's better, because the transformations we've seen in Seed, in the Cosmic Era overall, have been, shall we say, they didn't always stick the landing, Brian. I know you're not a fan of the that one extended Gundam where the chest had the head of the Gundam.
Yeah, no, I could not take that thing serious. I laughed every time it was on screen.
Actually, Aegis Gundam, I wasn't too much of a fan of. In claw mode, it was, I don't know, it didn't look good. It looked like a villainous boss, from the Raiden games or something, right? You had to fight the claw,
I could see that,
Yeah.
I think I didn't like the claw that much because up until that one time he grabbed Kira with it, when they blew it up, he didn't really do much with it. He kind of just transform and then rush out and kind of shoot some things. Didn't really use the claw mode. So it was kind of like, if you're going to transform, you got to use the claw more.
Yeah. I thought that, I know they're all experimental, but it seemed just like the claw was asking the mobile suit you grab to take out their beam saber and stab you with their free arm.
Yeah, that's pretty true. But my favorite comment that I saw someone make, Isaac, and I apologize because I did not write this person's name down, but there was one Redditor who said, "Oh, it's called Eclipse because Kira will appear and eclipse the main cast."
Whoever you are, that's spot on brilliant, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
I busted up laughing when I read that. I was like, "Oh, this man knows his Gundam." So I don't know. That seems like a good premise for a side story. It's got a cool looking design. If you're a Gundam Seed fan, definitely check out Eclipse. I don't know if it'll ever make it out here in English. I'm sure someone will translate it, but probably not officially.
Once that fanlation's done, we'll read it.
Yeah, it looks pretty neat. I would read it for sure.
Yeah.
There were 5 total things, so that was 2. The third one is a new Gundam Seed video game is in development, and that was literally all that was announced, just that there will be a video game. No idea what it's about, what system it's for, anything. But a game's coming, so if you like games and you love Gundam Seed, guess what? You're going to get a new one 15 years later. So that's pretty cool.
They're really going to the well and trying to draw as much as they can, huh, Brian?
This is a media blitz, Isaac. They're just like, hey, remember Gundam Seed? We're going to remind you in every way that we can.
I don't know. I feel like 20th anniversary, we don't really get too much stuff brought back. So what's prompting this? That's interesting.
I think it's just because Gundam Seed was very successful, and it was, at least within Japan, I think it was their most successful, reboot of the franchise to date.
Man. Well, I guess that's true. In that case, full steam ahead. I hope it works out, and I hope we get really good series and content to watch.
Agreed. Any new Gundam is good Gundam for the most part. The other two things are pretty minor, but there is going to be a new anime short to go along the new life-size Freedom Gundam. That life-size Gundam has been erected in Shanghai at the Mitsui Shopping Park. Have you seen a picture of this Freedom Gundam, Isaac?
No, but does it look like our other Gundam?
It does. It looks, it's just like a big Freedom. I think in general, the RX-78 and the Unicorn, I'm a bigger fan of those designs than I am the Freedom. So seeing a life-size Freedom Gundam, it's neat. I don't like it as much as the other two, but still pretty cool. If you're in Shanghai, definitely something to go check out for sure. So apparently there's going to be a new, the same Seed director is going to create a new anime short to go kind of play along next to the statue. If you've seen videos of where the Unicorn is right now, they always show little shorts projected onto the building next to it. So I assume this is going to be something very similar to that. But it'll be original. Probably, I would imagine it'll be under 10 minutes long for sure. But it'll be all new. I don't know what it'll be about. But I can't imagine it'll have any major plot impact. But it'll be there. So that's kind of neat.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, a little snippet to enjoy.
Yeah, and then the final thing is there will be an event being held at the Mitsui Shopping Park. I would assume to commemorate the opening of the Freedom Gundam, starting May 28th. And ending July 11th. So I think you can go there, watch a bunch of Gundam anime, buy a bunch of Gundam stuff, and check out the Freedom Gundam, I guess.
Yeah, you can watch them put together a miniature model of a plant, and then they're gonna put a stick of fireworks inside of it and detonate it.
Oh, that's terrible, but very accurate to the show. The demonstration will be called "Why the Plant Design Was a Bad Idea."
It'll be given by Maruta Azrael in his teal suit.
So that's all this Gundam Seed news. I mean, last 2 weeks before this, we had all that new UC Next 100 project news, and now they follow that up with this Gundam Seed news. We're going light speed ahead here, Isaac, with Gundam stuff. And before that, we had the live action film news with Netflix. So we're just firing on all cylinders here. Again, good time to be a Gundam fan.
We are going to have so much Gundam content ready for us as this pandemic begins winding down.
Yeah. And I just have to point out that I called this, Isaac. Remember when we did, I don't remember what episode it was. I'm pretty sure it was, I think I've mentioned this at least twice, but I'm pretty sure the first time was on the How to Get Into Gundam episodes where I said, hey, the Seed 20th anniversary thing's coming up. I think it's likely that we get a new Seed something out of this, because that was a really popular show. People love it. So,
Brian, you're a Gundam prophet. You can see the future. You know what's coming down the pipeline, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you kind of had a bit of a forewarning, though, right? Because they re-released the series with the new dub, and then your little brain was working back there. Your neurons, they started pulling down that wall that hit.
I went into seed mode, Isaac, and I saw all the possibilities.
You have a cashew. Your cashew exploded in your brain.
Yes.
Cracked open, and you're like, guess what? Oh, I'm putting all the pieces together. This is clearly this new dub, this new pointless dub. It's just the beginning. Things are coming. And here we are, Brian, with a ton of Gundam Seed news for all the Gundam Seed fans for the preservation of our blue and pure world.
I'm telling you, the writing was on the wall, people.
Yep.
Should have seen it coming. So, and I did finally read what I felt was the best explanation for why there was a new dub, Isaac.
Oh, let's hear it. The fans would love to know why this happened.
The one that makes the most sense to me is that what they re-released was the HD remaster, which is slightly different than the broadcast version. And there simply is no dub for the HD remaster. So instead of trying to somehow fit the old one to the HD remaster, because some scenes are different, they just went ahead and did a full new dub.
Okay.
So I get it.
Sure.
Still seems like a little extra work to me. I feel like if you just called those people back, did a few more scenes, and you kind of splice the other ones together, maybe that would be cheaper. But whole new dub works too, I suppose.
I don't know. I still say it was largely unnecessary.
Well, if you want to watch the HD remaster dubbed.
And here we are. Here we are, Ryan.
So now I'm a little more excited than I was to watch Seed Destiny, so that way I can get in shape for the movie. Coming out of Seed, I was like, or less excited to go through it again, but now that there's going to be a movie, I feel like I'm a little more excited to go through Seed Destiny again whenever they come out with that new dub.
Do you actually remember much of Seed Destiny?
I remember up to about the halfway point.
Before it got nuts.
I think before the plot rails, or the plot kind of went off the rails a little bit. But I remember pretty well up to, or broad strokes, right? This is like 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, whatever. Right up until the analog of like the Psycho Gundam showed up, right? That's about the halfway point, I think.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to rewatch it, of course, but I don't remember it being as enjoyable as Seed.
I don't remember liking Shin very much.
Yeah, he's... say what you will about Kira, but he wasn't filled with, like, murderous revenge and anger.
If Kira's Amuro, right, Shin is clearly Camille, but I don't remember disliking Camille as much as I disliked Shin.
I don't know. Camille could get a little annoying. Also, Camille's whole... what got the whole ball rolling for Camille was punching someone that insulted his name.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's the biggest meme, right?
Had that never happened, things would have gone very differently in State. This just shows the power and the impact that bullying has on the world.
The moral of Zeta Gundam, don't bully people.
If you're a Titan, just don't bully people and they won't become an ace pilot that destroys your organization.
So you don't remember much either? Or where are you at on Destiny? How much do you remember?
All right, I remember we pretty much have another war. It opens with Earth trying to nuke the plants again. But guess what, Brian? They have a nuclear detonation canceller.
Oh, man.
And it's actually called a neutron stampeder. And they use it and they blow up the nukes early, and then like Earth loses in space again, and now the war's happening again. They're fighting on Earth again, and then Earth gets involved. Orb gets involved. There's some subplot with like Kigali, and she has to marry like a prince, but he's actually working for Blue Cosmos. We learn about the villainous organization Logos behind Blue Cosmos, and the war ends up being Earth and Zaf teaming up against this organization, Logos, and fighting them on Earth until they're defeated, and then the remnants of them in space, and then evil Durandal, who this whole time everyone thought was a pretty reasonable leader of Zaf, he ends up pulling a fast one, and it turns out he's actually got his own plan for conquering and running the world. And heroes save the day, roll credits. I think I got the broad strokes memorized.
That's pretty good. That's way more than what I got memorized. In my mind, Destiny basically goes like this. We open with Shin. For some reason, Atherin's on his ship. Shin's really upset at everybody, particularly because his girlfriend gets murdered at some point. And then Kira comes in and basically takes over being the main character. But after that, it kind of gets fuzzy. Clearly, it was one of my favorites, but...
You don't remember Neo Genesis?
I vaguely do. I remember Neo Genesis because I looked into it for our Super Weapon episode, but I think what threw me off on Destiny is that by the end, there were so many, like... you brought up Logos and how it was the organization behind Blue Cosmos. In my mind, there doesn't need to be an organization behind Blue Cosmos. It could have just been Blue Cosmos, right? Like, why overcomplicate it?
Yeah, it felt like they just needed to raise the stakes, which was kind of weird because we didn't really get a full grasp of Blue Cosmos as an organization, right?
No, not very much at all.
It sounded like saying, well, I have these beliefs. There wasn't so much a villainous structure behind it. We never met, President Blue Cosmos.
Right,
but
yeah.
They could have done that in Seed Destiny, and maybe they should have revealed that, wow, this organization's actually way more widespread and villainous than you thought. Although that's kind of hard to do, right? Because we already saw how many officers were with Blue Cosmos.
Maybe that's what they should call the movie, Isaac. Mobile Suit Gundam Seed canceled. Or cancel this.
Gundam Seed Canceller. Do you remember The villain in Seed, it was, well, there's multiple villains, but Jabril, you remember Jabril?
So that was another thing. I got confused. There were too many. There was like Jabril, Durandal, Ray. There was just too much going on for me.
A lot was happening. For some reason, they decided to keep Yzak alive.
Yeah, of course. And then he got a goof, right, at some point?
I forgot what he got, but he whatever they gave him was good enough to keep him alive. More super weapons though, so that was cool.
Yeah. I do remember one thing that made me mad about Destiny was in Seed, they were really towing the line between Universal Century homages and original designs, right? Like the Jin was clearly inspired by the Zaku, but it wasn't a Zaku, right? The amphibious suits were clearly patterned after Xeon amphibious suits, but they weren't straight up Gogs or Zagoks or whatever. See, Destiny, they just kind of abandoned that, and they were like, well, this is a Zaku, and this is a Goof. And I forgot they even had the TriStar Dom team stand in. Do you remember those guys?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. They have like straight up Doms in Seed Destiny, and they do a jet stream attack and everything.
That's terrible. I can't stand that.
Those imposters.
I want a Dom canceller.
So that kind of like ruined it a little. Not ruined it for me, but it made me like the designs less because it was just like, oh, this is just a Zaku, this is just a Goof. You know, I've already seen.
Let's just flat out say it. They phoned it in by bringing in Zaku's, right? And like anything Xeon that they could to Seed.
It showed the point where they were like, well, we're clearly getting a better reaction if we just remake a Zaku or we just remake a Goof instead of continuing the Jin line or something like that. So, and maybe that's what they wanted. I don't know, but it was weird to me.
Yeah, I never like that though when they like pull stuff that's too close to a mobile suit we've already seen in a series, especially the original series, you know. But to an extent, aren't the main Gundams almost always just the old Gundam updated?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand though why they did it from their perspective. Because I mean, I guess you and I, as a Universal Century fan, we weren't the target audience. The Seed audience was supposed to be someone who maybe wasn't into Gundam before Seed. So I could see that. I mean, they're just trying to get those designs out to the people who've never seen them before. So I can understand that.
It makes me think of like all the mobile suits from other series that aren't available for purchase that I would like. Like after War Gundam X, they had really cool villainous mobile suits.
Mm-hmm.
But where are they? They'll never be made.
No, they'll never be made. You might be able to get, old versions of them from the 90s, like when they came out. They're not going to be up to par with, current models, but you could probably get some of them at least.
I doubt it.
Knowing you, I think you'd be pretty frustrated when you opened that box and you were like, this is a model kit from 1996.
Probably. Like, the instructions are in Japanese.
Yeah, that'll definitely be true. I don't think there was ever a U.S. version of Gundam X. They do have Gundam X and XX Master Grades, but I don't believe they have any of the enemy suits or even two other hero Gundams. What was it? The Air Master and the Leopard? Was that one?
Yeah.
I don't think those ever got Master Grades. So you can't even really complete your own like hero team in Master Grade form. You can get the X and the XX, which do look pretty cool, but that'll be the only one you'd be left with.
Well, that's too bad. Well, what can you do?
Well, you can go buy the slew of Seed Destiny kits that they put out.
Oh God.
Blaze Zaku and the
get a goon.
The goon. Oh man, you can get that Dom. I'm sure they have a 1x100 scale Dom from Seed Destiny. They look fine. They look good. It's like, oh, I know that suit.
He's like, you guys didn't even change anything.
No, I will say though, I did watch the Dom clip the other day. I saw it and I was like, I didn't remember there being Doms in Seed Destiny.
Yeah.
Because I think it's later on in the show. Probably when I tuned out a little bit. And I was like, I wonder if Yzak knows about this. And I will say that the Doms that show up, they look closest to their Universal Century counterparts compared to the Zaku and the Goof that are in the show. They definitely changed the least, just like you're saying. I'm not sure how that will make you feel.
I don't like it. I don't want to see anything from the Universal Century that close to what they originally looked like in the Cosmic Era.
I think that's fair, right? Because it's supposed to be something different, something new. That's a fair take. I don't know, listeners. What's your opinion? Do you like the use of Universal Century designs in the Cosmic era, or does that throw you off as well? I'd be curious to hear your take. Maybe we're just old and curmudgeon-y, Isaac. I don't know.
I mean, no.
Isaac has his principles, damn it, and he's standing by them.
New series, new suits. End of discussion. I'm done. Mic drop.
Yeah, because I think if we look at Iron-Blooded Orphans, right? I mean, we weren't a huge fan of the suits in that show, but I'd still rather see those suits than to see Zaku's pop up, right? Because the suits need to fit the universe.
It just comes off as lazy to an extent, right? I mean, at that point, why not bring back every mobile suit? Where's the gun cannon? Why not bring back gyms? Why not bring back gun cannons, gun tanks?
Yeah.
Why not call in this movie? Why not call the new Archangel? Why does it call it the White Base?
The White Angel.
Yeah, it's the White Angel.
The White Angel base.
Here it comes. Yeah. And it's gonna look the same. It's all blocky and the fans wanted the same thing. It's like, come on, get a little creative.
All right, listeners. So let us know your thoughts on this new Gundam Seed news. What do you think of the film? What do you want the film to be in terms of plot? Who do you want to see in the film? Do you have any ideas for antagonists? Do you want a new character to be the bad guy, or maybe an old character being the bad guy? Maybe this is when Yzak will get his revenge, Isaac. He'll take a full bad guy turn and finally demand respect.
You know what he's gonna do, Brian? He's gonna make Red Cosmos.
Ooh, maybe he's the one that goes full Zala.
I mean, that would actually be really cool. Actually, I'm on board with that.
It would make the most sense.
He's had enough, because, the first time they're in a war, right? He had to deal with, Atherin and other coordinators turning on him, whatever. We had peace and we saved the day, right? Zapped and the plants lived another day. Yeah. Second time, God, humans try to nuke the plants again. He has to go to war. They bring out Requiem, that awesome super weapon at the end. He destroys it or defeats it, and they all defeat it. Plants are saved. Zap's saved. One of the Zap leader went nuts and almost destroyed the world again or caused problems. At this point, he's probably like, you know what? Let me just run the show and try to take over Earth and the plants. We're going to keep everybody alive, but God, everybody else is messing things up. Let me just create Red Cosmos and unify the Earth sphere once and for all.
Is this his Thanos moment, right? Where he grabs the gauntlet and he says, fine, I'll do it myself. Is that this for Yzak?
Hopefully, yeah. That'd be awesome. A 2-hour movie where Yzak and all his allies and Zaft, or they just pull out all the stops. Maybe they get allies on Earth. Well, probably allies on Earth, right? Because plants and Earth were teamed up for a long time against Logos.
Yeah, there's probably been some mixing at this point.
Calls in some favors and says, you know what? We got this one chance to seize Earth. Maybe maybe Lacus, Atherin, and Kira are all in one place, so he knows that as soon as he seizes them, it's over, because nobody else can cause as much problems as them.
Yep.
To any villainous plan.
Shin is completely disregarded.
Oh, what can he do? He's useless without other people.
All right, listeners, so let us know your thoughts. Do you like our Yzak idea? Who do you want to be the bad guy? Let us know your thoughts on the Eclipse Gundam. Do you like its transformation? Do you like its angularness? Let us know.
Are you excited for Seed, listeners? Do you want it to come back? Is this kind of out of nowhere? Would you like to see in a new series? And also, do you think they're going to stick the landing? Or are we going to prepare ourselves for another 00 movie?
That's a legitimate fear, I guess, that we didn't talk about, right? I mean, if you're a Seed fan, could you be afraid that maybe they're going to screw it up? Maybe you're okay with how everything ended.
They're going to fight tripods that invade from Mars.
Oh, I'm telling you, those space whales are coming for you.
I would be so... Okay, I know we just mentioned this, but I would be so down for the Yzak plot or the space whale invasion plot, right? Because the space whale one, it's such an Easter egg, right? It was George Glenn found these, and and nowadays scientists are always dolphins and whales are so intelligent, these aquatic mammals, blah, blah, blah. They have their own language and all that. So the space whales are out there in space. They've all been left alone, or maybe watching humanity just destroy each other. And they show up with mobile whale suits.
Do the mobile whale suits still look like whales, though?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good.
And their cockpit looks like a cockpit for a whale.
Is the cockpit in the mouth?
No, I think it would have to be in the chest or the whale body.
The whale belly. Yeah.
They got some type of weapons that you can only hold with like a flipper.
They have like flipper sabers, like beam flippers.
Something like, yeah, a beam flipper.
The blowhole is clearly a megaparticle cannon.
Earth is going to lose a lot of people because they're not really used to fighting something that has like three fins, right? The dorsal fin and then the side ones. And
let's see a beam spam this, Kira.
Also, like proportionally, I imagine the whales are massive compared to regular mobile suits.
I don't know if the 3-ship alliance is going to be able to handle this.
They're not going to be able to cut it. We're going to need everybody.
So that's our vote. We're hoping for George Glenn-led space whale counterattack called George Glenn's counterattack.
Brian, prepare the whale canceller.
It's a big harpoon.
It's a harpoon Gundam.
Or our alternative hope is that Yzak finally rises to the top and gets his due and commences his full Zala transformation and full counterattack in Mobile Suit Gundam SEED, Yzak's counterattack.
Yeah, nobody else is really around that's that close to being a villain or that angry and would want to do something about it, right? Everyone's dead.
Yeah, not without bringing him back, right? I mean, I guess they could pull some, I wasn't really dead kind of thing.
Patrick Zala never really died. Patrick Zala was wearing a death canceller.
What can't you cancel in the Cosmic Era? Apparently the show, because he's coming back.
If you had fun 20 years ago, guess what? We're bringing it back. Maybe it's a crossover event, Brian. Maybe the 00 Silver Aliens are coming over here.
I hope not. Please, if you... No. Just... No. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Only an alliance of innovators and coordinators can stop.
I hope they win.
God help us.
It would be a just complete disaster. All right, listeners. Leave us your comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Yzak, take us away.
All right, everybody. Now that we have this Gundam news, we need you to do something special for it. If you're a Gundam Seed fan, stand next to your bed tonight. Put your hands together. Get on your knees. Look up at the ceiling and hail Zeon.
Good night, everybody.